Hi, I'm Aidan Rodley and this is Mainland Matters. Good to have your company this week as we examine what's gone on over the past week in South Island racing and also look ahead to what is a really good meeting out of Riccarton this weekend. It starts a really good period of racing through that Riccarton period of autumn racing such as Canterbury Gold Cups and War Step Stakes and things further down the track, Champagne Stakes and the like as well. We kick off with the Valachi Down South Island Breeders' Stakes this weekend, but we'll look at that very shortly. In the meantime though, let's take you back to this week's racing. We saw racing out of Ashburton last Thursday. We'll have a look at that and certainly a race from that meeting very shortly, but also from Monday, and obviously a big talking point was the feature on this occasion. So have a look at the running of the RMG Publicans Cap, and this race was the feature. $30,000 stake, got up to a rating 88. Now we just picked them up here on the bend. You can see the horse coming right to the very outside as Fame Shines under Brandon May. And through on the inside, just hitting the front there is Sea Shepherd. Now, even look at this point, you can see how far that Fame Shines is behind. So it comes up, gets up on the outside of Sea Shepherd, hits the front. They did come together there. It's around about the 75 metre mark before Fame Shines asserts superiority and wins the race. Now, we looked at that front on and you can see that there was definitely contact between the two horses, but Fame Shines had come from a fair way behind. There was a protest lodged afterwards. Now, speaking to the chief stipendiary steward for the day, who was Mark Davidson, he said that would have been an inquiry that wouldn't have got the support of stipendiary stewards, and you can see from how far that Fame Shines had made up on Sea Shepherd before the contact was made that it was a worthy winner of the race. However, what happened afterwards was a rather forgettable event. Brandon May went back in to weigh in. He'd heard the protest siren go. He hopped in the back of the line of jockeys to weigh in, but then he was sort of seeing what was going on in the protest room, that Corey Campbell and Sabin Kirkland had gone in there to mount that protest. Basically, he became flustered, he told stipendiary stewards, left that line, went back into the jockey's room as he started getting together his defence for the inquiry. But what had happened is he failed to weigh in. Now, I've spoken to Brandon earlier today. He's obviously very contrite about it. He said it's just something that he wished had never happened, but his focus swapped from weighing in to the inquiry, and it just slipped his mind to weigh in. He's told me that he's taken ownership of his mistake, and he definitely called it a mistake, and he says he has apologised to connections of Fame Shines, but obviously there's punters hurt as well from this incident, those people who back Fame Shines, who should have been collecting their win profits, miss out. Now, he has been suspended for 5 weeks for that misdemeanour. Unfortunate series of events, and Mike Davidson described it to me as a perfect storm of events that just led to Brandon making that mistake, which has cost him 5 weeks, but also cost punters a fair bit of money. And obviously connections of Fame Shines don't get their winning spoils as well. Prepared really nicely by Stephanie Faulkner, as we saw from the video. A really good win from that horse, and yeah, such a shame to see that win taken off it through Brandon's misdemeanour. It's something I'm sure he won't be doing again. So really good racing out of Wingatui there on Monday as part of the Beaumont meeting. Let's go back now to last Thursday's meeting out of Ashburton. We saw some really good performances here as well. Just one I wanted to focus in on was a horse who had been promising plenty. I'll take you back to race 3 and have a look at Delphilius, a horse who had won I think 4 trials leading into this, including a couple of those by 6 lengths. She was able to get right clear as we picked them up here, turning for home under Christian Madu. He just basically said, I'm on the best horse in the race, I'm going to dominate it, and that she did. The margin did dwindle. Miss Layla, who runs home really nicely, as you can see out wide, into second spot, runs the quickest last, 800, 600, 400 of this race, as she does take ground off Delphilius. And some really nice runs in behind them. Ruby Sunrise, again, a good performance there for third. And Matrick further back under Terry Mosley did run the quickest last 200 metres of that race, so maybe one to follow as well. I've spoken to Lance Robinson today, and he says He's just going to give Delphilius a bit of time, a freshen up before they go to a 3-year-old rating 65 event on the Poly. He was just a little bit wary that she's still very weak. She still only had 5 starts in her short career and getting better all the time, obviously, but still he was wanting to avoid taking on the rating 65 older horses. So he's waited for a suitable 3-year-old rating 65 race, which is in the middle of May on the Poly track at Riccarton, which is when we'll see Delphilius again next. Won't she be suited getting straight to the front on the Poly as well? That meeting saw some really good performances up in grade. The feature was the rating 75, which was taken out by Brancaster Bomber for Sophie Hargraves and Naomi Murfitt, and did a really good job in winning that narrowly. Good performance. And earlier as well, we saw the other higher grade race, which was, if I can just bring it up on my screen here, a performance in the Betty Rodley Memorial that we saw Taimati Diva win in pretty good style as well. Okay, let's turn our attention now to weekend racing. We take you to Riccarton, and a really nice meeting here as well. Group 3 Valachi Downs South Island Breeder Stakes, Thoroughbred Breeder Stakes to feature over the 1600 metres, set weights and penalties, and without the black type performances behind these horses, Live Drama, who is a 96 rated horse, comes in at 55 kilograms, 55 and a half, to be just half a kilogram above the lowest rated horse in the field, who is Lady Talina, who was a winner on that program at Ashburton last week as well, and that's a 67 rater. So under normal conditions, you can understand what that's 30 points, 15 kilograms. That should be the difference. Instead, it's only a half a kilogram. We're going to take you back to Live Drama's last performance, take you back to the White Robe Lodge. Now, this is going back to the 4th of February. So it is a while between runs, and she's a little bit vulnerable at 1600 metres. So you can see this day, perfect scenario, ridden by Joe Cameroon, comes up along the inside and does a really good job to take this out. Prise de Feu, who goes around this weekend at Tauranga, a little bit disappointing that day. We'll see how that form stacks up as well. But Live Drama, you can see just coming through just in behind them, also stays closer to the inside under Kavish Chowdhury, and does a good job in running into second position on this occasion and behind Perfect Scenario. Beaten 3 1/4 lengths, so pretty soundly beaten, but had the rest of the field pretty well covered, and in this race looks to be in pretty well under those conditions of the race. Speaking to Lance, he's had 2 exhibition gallops he's been able to take advantage of, one at Riccarton and one at Ashburton last week. So that's brought her on. He's pretty happy with the way she is going into this race. And obviously he's also got Ava Quinella in the race. Just a report from Lance is that she tied up a little bit last time out, but they have addressed that matter, and she has improved the last time, maybe just a little bit underdone for that last start miss. Elizabeth Rose, maybe just a touch below her best last time out, but she is obviously high class and a contender in this. Year's back's been going really nicely. Bergier last start winner, and Divine Saba, a winner of her last 2, and has been really good in that as well. So that's part of that feature race, the Group 3 Valachi Downs South Island Breeder Stakes this weekend. You've also got the Hororata Gold Cup, which has drawn a good field, and the Yoldhurst Open Handicap as well. So a couple of good open races on that card as well. Just one point on Ava Quinella. She'll be ridden by Tina Komanyahi, who we welcome back to the jockeys' ranks. A really welcome return too at Wingatui on Monday. She's just taking smaller books at the moment. Speaking to her agent Eddie Brooks this morning, they've just restricted her to 5 rides at Riccarton this weekend as she starts her build-up back to race day fitness after that horror fall that saw her with serious injuries, Tina Komanyahi. But back in the jockey's room, back in the silks, and back riding for punters, who I'm sure will be loving her return as well. We look forward to that meeting at Riccarton this weekend. We'll catch the highlights of that meeting next week on Mainland Matters.
I like to eat pop chips. 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 I like to eat